Hey, I'm Natalie Potts, and this is the Natalie Potts podcast. If you want to talk about your business, your life, your health, and more, then you are in the right place. We do it all with humour, love, and inspiration to help you create a life you love. So, let's dive in. On today's episode, I'm really excited to be joined with Adam. Adam and I met over 2 years ago, I think, and we built a great relationship. And last year, as I was embarking on leaving the corporate space, I knew I needed support, and Adam became my personal performance coach. And we've spent a year together, and he's helped me to build and grow my business. I wouldn't be where I am without Adam. He has been absolutely amazing. He has been a voice of challenge. He has held space for me. And I hope in today's episode, you'll really get a sense for the relationship that we now have. And I'm so excited to continue this relationship in different ways as we move forward into growing our businesses even further. But what today is going to share with you is a opportunity where I asked loads of people to come into my Facebook group in February and share all about what they do and be able to serve and help others. And also it was about giving people the confidence to do videos, to do presentations, and to talk about what they do, because so many people struggle with this. So Adam and I get in a rich conversation. We have some people that have shared questions throughout, so you see us answering those as well. And I'm really showing here the importance that we don't have to be constantly creating new content. We can repurpose things. Sometimes I feel that we get to points and we look back and think, oh, that wasn't good enough. It was at that time, and it got you to where you are now. So you do not have to keep building and building new material. And this is showing you just that. I'm repurposing from a conversation we had a couple of months back, and all of the conversation is still relevant, it's still rich, and it will be in the foreseeable future. So this is our share. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know your feedback and enjoy the episode.
So yeah, as Nat's just said, we've been working together for nearly a year now. The bulk of my work is in leadership development at the moment. And I say at the moment because I don't really kind of differentiate kind of where I go and what kind of work I do. So I have one-to-one clients just like Nat, predominantly business owners, but also general one-to-one clients. And then leadership development I've probably been doing for just over a year. Bit of background, I guess, which is worth saying. 20 years in the nuclear industry. Worked for EDF Energy, worked on all the existing nuclear operational plants in the UK, and then towards the end of my career, I had a UK-based role. During that time, I was, for want of a better term, sheep-dipped in lots of leadership development. I fell in love with personal development. So the chap who actually did my original leadership development is the guy I'm working with at the moment to create and develop leadership programs for large corporates. Live up in Cheshire, got two little boys, Miles, who's 7, Ruben, who's 10. And I just said to Nat, we're all very excited because we're flying out to Dubai on Saturday, which was a pre-COVID trip that got put off, which I'm sure many of you can empathise with. Lovely wife, Hayley. We've been married for a long time. That's all I'm going to say. Little cockapoo, Annie, and Barley. So that's my domestic stuff. What else do I love in life? Huge meditator. For those of you familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza, I spent a week with Dr. Joe last year in London, full week. So love the practice of meditation. I could talk an hour and some all about meditation. I generally love health and fitness. I was a CrossFit instructor for 4 years. And then when my business started to take shape, I went over to the dark side and bought Peloton. Which does make me laugh because I never ever thought I would be a Peloton a geek. So why has Nat asked me to come and talk to you? So I do not do any social media. My online footprint is pretty small. I've tried it. And if I'm honest, it took way too much energy, way too much effort. And it kind of drew me away from what I really love doing, which is spending time with clients. And I was very, very fortunate that somebody passed me a copy of this book, The Prosperous Coach. Now, Nat, can you ask in your community how many of your people have got a copy or have read this book?
I shall do. We've already had Alexandra say she'd love to know about ways to build momentum and keep it, so we can come on to that.
Yeah. So this book, I've heard people, I'll just say to Nat, So tonight, I've heard people say this is an expensive book. I went on just before we jumped on. I think I bought my copy for £25 some time ago, and it's written all over. It's got pages drawn on, etc.
And it's like highlighted there.
Yeah, there we go. And I think it's going for like 55, 60 quid now. I just said to Nat, if I took the combined turnover from my business and my client's business, like Nat and others that I've worked with, so others who've got coaching businesses, I suspect if I did the maths on it, I'd be somewhere, including my business, of about £1 million worth of turnover. But for a £60 book, that sounds pretty good to me. Now, that's not to say I've made $1 million, because I haven't yet. But the principles that sit within this book have literally changed the way in which I see my coaching business. And it's based on not selling. Okay, I have a passion, and I'm sorry if I'm just about to offend anyone. I hate being sold to, especially if it's something I don't bloody want. Okay, so this methodology that Rich Litvin and Steve Chandler are the two authors, it's all about creating a coaching experience. So if you're a service provider, rather than trying to sell and come out with all the fancy features and you're going to get this and you're going to get that, this is all about giving someone an experience of what you do. So in my world, in Nat's world, this is about creating a one-off opportunity to spend some time with us and do some work, do some coaching work, do the very thing that we love to do, which is to support people and help people move forward. Okay, whatever aspect of life that is. I've worked with a professional CrossFit athlete in Mexico. I've worked with an international male model. I've worked with someone in the Canadian defense sector. So just a really, really broad, wide spectrum of individuals and corporates, individuals looking to move forward. So the book's based on a really simple methodology: connect, invite, create, propose. Okay, so we're going to connect with people, and I don't mean Facebook friends, I don't mean LinkedIn, I mean actually talking to real human beings, right? So this isn't a case of, oh, I'm just going to go on and connect with lots of people, spam them with DMs of people you don't know. I've actually stopped going on LinkedIn because I'm fed up, sick to death of people DMing me. Do you want more clients? Do you want a 6-figure coaching business? Like I haven't already got one, or I haven't got enough clients. I just think it's rude and it pisses me off. Okay, so connecting with people is, Nat, who do you know that might want a conversation with me, that might be struggling with something at the moment that you think I might be able to help them with? So that connection piece is real, genuine connection. And it's taking the time to think about who you know and trust in your current network, wherever you are and whatever you do, and actually saying to them, look, I'd love to be able to give someone an experience of what it is I do as a coach. And we're not going to use the word free. Okay, the reason we don't use the word free is it has no value to it whatsoever. If you say to someone, I'm going to give you a free coaching experience, they might turn up, they might not turn up. But the fact that you've said it's free has no value. It does have value because you're giving your time, your energy, and your experience to support someone to move forward in an area of their life that they may have been struggling with for years. I have literally had people sit with me for 90 minutes during one of those sessions and go, I can't believe how much progress that we've made in 90 minutes just from having a really rich and deep coaching conversation. And they would never have known that. Because this thing we call coaching is still relatively new in the UK. People understand business coaching, sports coaching, all that. I'm sure the people in this network understand that. So then giving them an experience does a number of things. It offers them support in that moment, but it also gives them something that they can call upon in the future if they need it or would like it. So part of this is about planting seeds, as it explains in the book. So if I use Nat, we'll just pretend we're Nat for a minute. We've had the coaching experience. We've moved her forward in a particular area. She might be good. That's it. She's good to go. Off she goes. She's now got an experience of me and my coaching and what I'm about. And she can also, if somebody mentions something in the future, say, I'm really struggling with this particular thing, she can go, I know someone that you might be able to talk to who might be able to help you with that thing. So and you can see by doing that week in, week out, connecting with people and creating a coaching experience, which I'll get onto in a minute, then doing that work over and over and over again, you start to build up a reputation. And the other good thing with this process is you are actually coaching people. I've had some horrendous coaching sessions, okay? I'm not going to lie. And versus spending lots of time creating posts, lots of time thinking of, what new fandangle thing you can offer to the world. For me personally, I prefer being with human beings and I prefer coaching them. So I don't want to be in my office by myself trying to think up all these whizzy social media things, funnels, getting people into a conversation that I don't know, that I have no idea who they are, what they want. If you build your coaching business through invite and referral, yes, it may take a little bit longer. Got no illusion of that, but why would it be quick anyway? But you are also upping your coaching hours and coaching experience as you go along. So that connection piece is the first part. So we're going to create something. We're going to create a coaching experience. Now, if you're already a coach, sorry, now I'm going to pause there. Are there any questions there on that connection piece that you've got?
In particular, I guess we've got, people that it's on their read list of experience concepts in it, but need to read it more deeply. I still find we can talk about this and say to people what to do in connections, and people still, you've got to recognize that you are a part of that. You've got to take the action in doing it and keep it simple. One of the most simple things we did in our first conversations together was get a piece of paper, which would be more remarkable now, and a pen, and literally write in the middle of it, who do I know? And I literally had to really think and write down every single person, no judgment on it yet, just who was in it, then who were their worlds. And I can't remember the stats on it, but they were saying about the amount of people that you would know from the people you know and things like that as well, and how you can build business. And I think we just really underestimate what's right in front of us and not, what's actually beyond us.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example to try and help. So when I was leaving EDF, I was petrified. I built up a 20-year career. I had a really good job. Didn't dislike my job, but kind of knew if I wasn't going to create and start my own business, then it was that I was at that point. If I was going to go, I needed to go, and if I didn't, I'd be there forever. The nuclear industry, people just don't leave unless you die or retire. That's it. Huge, up top of the 90s in terms of staff retention, massive. So I created a small piece of narrative that said something along the lines of, and I think I shared this with Nat at the time, because the one thing with this book is the principles are great. What you've got to do is figure out how it works for you, because you can't, I don't know who you guys all know, right? But what you've got to do is go, right, so we're talking about connection, gives you the idea of that. So my coach, who I was working with at the time, helped me create a narrative. And that narrative went along something along the lines of, hi Nat, as you know, I've been coaching now for a while, part-time, I think it was something like that, or in my spare time, to further my coaching qualification. In the not too distant future, I'm going to be leaving EDF. And I would really, really like to give you an experience of what it is I do. Not so that you become a client, but so that you've got an experience of what coaching is and what it's not. And also you can then share that experience if and when it's appropriate to do so. And I'd love it for you to be you, because I know and I trust that you'll give me open and honest feedback. It was something like that, maybe a bit longer. But it was very much around people that I trusted and people that I knew would value doing some work on themselves. So this wasn't just an open invite to every man and his dog that I know, because I knew they wouldn't value it. So that connection piece it doesn't tell you how to do it in the book. It talks to you about the methodology, the principle of creating a really great connection with someone so that you can move that into a coaching conversation. So we're going to create this now. So what we're saying is we've connected with somebody and they've said, yeah, that sounds like a really great idea. I've got this thing that I've been working on, or I've got this thing that's going on at work, or I've got this business thing that I've really been struggling with. Now, where did I make a mistake here? Blue-eyed, naive, forgot to say, look, you've got to bring something with you. So if you're going out to friends and colleagues, they might go, yeah, I'm happy to support you. I'm more than happy to come along and have a coaching experience. This sounds great. You need to set this up. So if they've said yes, one of the things you need to go back with then is, look, 2 hours. And you go, oh, 2 hours, that seems like a long time. But you don't want this to be rushed. So if someone's like, I can give you 30 minutes, big alarm bells ringing. This isn't about them giving you 30 minutes. This is about you potentially supporting them to move forward in an area of life that they've been stuck with for quite a while. 2 hours gives you lots of space, and you'll play around with this. I know Nat did when we worked together. Sometimes it might be 90 minutes, sometimes it might be an hour. You'll just play around. But if you at least set the expectation that this is going to be 2 hours just for you and what you want to work on, then they've straight off the bat, it's like, oh, wow, okay, 2 hours, that's pretty intense, okay. And then you need to kind of make sure that you say to them, you need to bring something that you want to work on, okay. And maybe even send them some questions, maybe even send them just 4 or 5 questions that kind of say, what are you struggling with right now? What's the biggest challenge in your life that you've not been able to move forward with? Those sorts of, if you're a coach, you could think of 1,000,001 questions to ask, but get into that really nice place where they're turning up, they know why they're turning up, what to expect, what not to expect, and then do your job. So this is the fun bit. This is the bit where you get to sit with someone and serve them really, really powerfully. Listen, do your coaching. I don't know what areas that's in this community, what areas you coach around, but give them an experience that leaves them wanting to go, how much would it cost to work with you? Or how do I do more work with you? What could we create together? And that's why that 2 hours is really, really important, because if you've not been coached before, which a lot of the people I've worked with have never had a coach, they don't really understand what that is. You can have that conversation and you're not rushing it. And it allows you to also create that conversation that says what coaching's not, because that's just as important for people to understand. It certainly is for me, and I know it is for Nat. It's really, really important that people understand that we're not there to tell them what to do. We're not there to give them advice. We're not there to consult for them. All that usual stuff that's in the coaching space that I struggle with is that a lot of people find their way looking for the magic bullet, quick, easy. If I go on this program for 12 weeks, everything's going to be great. I'm not in that space. I'm in that space of, let's slow this right down and let's have a really great coaching experience together. And that's why it's an experience. That's why it's not free. That's why there's value to it, because they're going to go away having moved forward in an area that they didn't potentially think they could. I'm just going to re-emphasize, why is that important? They've now got a genuine experience. So when I first started my coaching business, I know loads of people, Adam, I can send your way, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't work, because they don't actually know how to explain what you do. Because if you say to them, so what are you going to say to people? You're a coach. Okay. So what does that mean?
And that in itself is the whole reason, and around today as well, that the fact that so many people, there's no judgment here, but they just, when they're starting out in business, they don't know how to position themselves or talk about what they sell, do confidently. And if you struggle at that part, you just can't build on it. You've got to be able to have the confidence and know yourself what you do. In order to get the conversation going. So that's why I always say it's a foundational part, so it feels sticky. But if you don't know who you're talking to or what you do, how's a conversation going to ever start? And we know that every single client comes from a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. You've stolen some of my thunder. But that's absolutely bang on. The art of coaching, I am sure whoever's watching this, looking at this, you can all coach. The bit that you're more than likely struggling with, and which is obviously our help Nat for the past 12 months, is how do we actually create a sustainable coaching business?
Yeah.
How do we do it so that we're not pouring all our energy and effort and doing everything that everybody else is doing? Because the online space is very noisy, it's cluttered, it's to be quite frank, it's quite dangerous in places where people are selling things that they just They're not buying coaching, they're buying tutorial programs.
This is what's really interesting. I think the conversation on people wising up to coaching this year is really changing and being credible, because anyone could have, do a quick 2-week course thing,
weekend
voucher and and certificate and stick it on the wall. The purpose is that you've got and you can have AI and everything now, and it's amazing, and it is. And I think if you don't keep on track with that, then you fall behind as well. But you've also got to have enough about you to say what's going to work for me and not, because people want connection. And great, I could make some brilliant copy, although ChatGPT is not just for copy. I can create anything. I can outsource it. I can get people to do it for me. If it's not your authentic voice, when it comes to stuff like this, imagine if I looked amazing, like the way I spoke, everything was like I just drew everybody in, but then when I showed up, I couldn't do the magic. Where does it go?
And that's why this process is why I love this process. Because what you're actually doing, you're becoming a better coach by following the methodology. You're getting better at having those conversations. You're getting better at, we'll get to the proposed bit in a minute, and we'll get to the money bit in a minute. But you're building a business through actually giving people an experience. And at first, those experiences might be shit, right? Let's be honest. Nobody starts off a fabulous, wonderful, mega coach, right? Nobody. I don't give two shits who you are. You're not, right? Stop telling yourself that. This is a process that allows you to build your coaching skill set and experience as you go along. So quite right. This is one of the things that baffles me. I'm like, right, so I've got everything that's just said there. I've got the online this, I'm doing all, and you want, I don't know, let's just pretend it's somebody works for you for $6,000 a year, right? Are they going to put their credit card details into your website for $6,000? I'm doing all right in life. Nat knows, right? I'm doing all right. I'm a happy chappy. There's no way I put $6,000 into someone's website that I'd not had a conversation with. I didn't know how good they were, and I'd not gone and done my due diligence on them. So why would you expect somebody to come to your website, to come to your product range, and spend probably the kind of money that you want to earn if they've not had a conversation with you, if they've not experienced something, if you're being rushed, if it's, this deal only lasts until the end of the quarter? Why? It blows me away. So connections, take your time, figure out in your network who you know. You will be surprised if you actually sit there, like Nat said, and go through and really spend some time thinking about who you know, who's got businesses, who's got staff, your friends, your family. They will all know someone. And because they know and trust you, they will give you people that they believe you can genuinely help. Create that experience. Create that opportunity for somebody to open up and just have that space for them that is probably quite unique. Any questions, Nat, in the group so far?
Yeah, I mean, I know you're coming on later to answer some questions, so I'll bring stuff together and hopefully we'll have some more come through as people reflect as well. But definitely this idea about language is resonating through and how you position it. And I just shared back to, I think it was Claire on that this is where a coach mentor, I've found as well, holds a lot of support and guidance, because some of it is we don't know how to say it or how to position it. And I've certainly learned that with yourself, and I've got some other amazing, as well, my wealth of mentors and that, and I bring it all together. And then I put my own personality, what I like and what I don't. And, there's parts where, we're always open and honest, and I'll always be transparent, because I say that that's an important value to me, and I'll live and breathe that. But there are some times when I might put a bit of you got 24 hours, but like we just said, we'll do what works for us. Absolutely. The power is being able to know that as well. And language is key with that, of what works for you, for your client, and to really that it feels aligned with what you're doing. And I've found being around those people who are where I want to be, that have done some of that work for me as such, said this work, this doesn't. And then it's like, where success leaves clues, let's bring it all together. I don't, this is how I want to build my business, and staying with that as well, even if it feels you don't know if it's going to work. But yeah, language is very powerful, as we know. And again, that's a skill that takes time. You know, very much I've noticed people who have been in my world for the last 6 months, whether they've invested or not, have definitely shared with me recently my energy, my how I, my demeanor, everything has almost slowed right down. And I don't know, mature is the right word, but definitely I'm very conscious now. I'm very clear on things, my direction. And that's come over a period of time. And that's what we're saying is part of sustainable business too. Yep. But it's come from doing things. And I've done stuff like this, or I presented and I've gone, oh God, that was bloody awful. Or why did I say that? And I remember going back when I won CPD with the Coaching Academy, and they brought us all up at the end, people at one, and we had to do, they literally put us on the spot though, and it was great, but on the spot of a few questions. And I said something like, I really deserved this. And afterwards, I didn't mean it like that, but it sounded like, like no one works as hard as Nat. Oh, for goodness, like, I deserved it. And I was like, I said, but I've worked hard for it. And I think the idea was there, but it come through. Now I would not say the same thing again.
Yeah.
And it's language and it's experience and it's failings and it's all of this. So what we're sharing here is some great ideas how if I didn't have this space of Adam to do this and to think like this, or we would share that. I'd say it sounded crap, Adam. What do I do? How do we build on that? And again, that's slowing it down, bringing this to life right now to move forward. That's where we can hold this space so powerfully in order to create what we want to, and then over time that becomes more conscious in our behaviors and what we do and how we operate.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've this process, we've connected, we've invited, we've said, look, I'd love to be able to give you an experience, so we're not selling, and then we've created this kind of one-off experience of what it is we do, so that people can either refer us, but they've got an experience that they can either use in the future or share genuinely, that if somebody says go and speak to Ad, go and speak to Nat, they can talk from a place of experience and not just because they're pals with us or they're colleagues with us. It's much more powerful coming from someone who's experienced what it is you do. And then there's the propose piece. So the proposal piece for me, as Nat knows, part of the reason I have a very small online footprint is every single thing that I've taken from this means that the proposal piece, I want to create something unique for that individual. So I don't do 6 sessions, 12 sessions, 8 sessions. What I do then is we slow that conversation right down. So there's a number of things that are going to happen through that, creating that experience. Someone's just going to go, thanks very much, I really enjoyed that. And off they go. Perfect, no problem. You've had some more coaching experience. They've got an experience of what it is you do, and you may or may not hear from them ever again. No problem. But then they might sort of go, oh, I wasn't expecting that. How much does it cost to work with you? So this is a really, really interesting point now, because we've got to that point that we kind of want to do the fun stuff.
Yeah.
As we start into the coaching, coaching world, it's easy to have like a basic menu. And I struggle with that because I don't no idea how many sessions someone's going to need.
Yeah.
So again, language being really powerful. If you've got through that in, say, the experience in like an hour, maybe 90 minutes, and you've got some time left, one of the things to say is, look, I really, really think the best thing for us to do right now is slow this conversation down. You've clearly enjoyed the experience and you've taken something from it. Let's set up another session where we can explore what you want to work on, what you can give to the coaching process. Why do you want to work with me in particular? How long do you think it's going to take for you to achieve the results that you're looking to achieve? Because there's a cost to this, and I don't just mean financially. One of the things that I talk to with potential proposals is, what are you going to give up? And they go, what do you mean? I'm like, well, if we're going to meet every fortnight for an hour, well, there's, I think Nat and I have just gone 25 sessions. So there's 25 hours there over the last 12 months where she would have ordinarily been doing something. So, okay. And then you are going to have to go away and do some stuff in between the sessions. So if you're already a busy person, hate that word, Nat knows why, then what are you willing to give to this process? And that's where you need to slow this right down, because this is probably the most critical point of actually doing your due diligence on that client. Because they might just be excited and in the moment, and oh my God, yeah, I can't believe I've moved this thing forward, and wow, that seemed really simple. It's just a conversation, and you asked me some really powerful questions, and I've had a bit of an insight moment. I've had the light bulb's gone on. So they could be in a heightened sense of emotion, which is fine. But what you don't want is to sell them something when they're in a high state of emotion, because then further down the line, all of a sudden it becomes a problem, because you haven't had that conversation of what are you willing to give up? How long is it going to take? So if it was purely just advice, take it or leave it, I would say leave them in that lovely feeling, that lovely state of, wow, I've really moved this forward, and then set up another session. Yes, yeah. Adam, that's another amount of time that it's going to take in your diary. It's a sustainable approach, not a quick fix. Okay. This is something that is potentially going to take you years to get your rhythm, to get your narrative, to get your groove on with. And I kind of think, where have you got your expectation that this should be a quick fix in business? Nobody I know. Nobody. Right.
I remember when you said to me, because this was a moment, I think I was it was July, so we started in March, this was July, and it was, July was my first 10k month, wasn't it? And I think I did well. I said I was going to do 5 as my target, and then I was like, sod it, let's do 10, and then I did 13. It was ridiculous. But I was very much, it was hard, and I remember coming on and I was like, this is really tough, because it feels like I'm not moving forward, and I'm going around in circles, and I'm talking to myself a lot of the time, or I'm not engaging. Why do I feel it's of value and no one else is? And we were talking very broadly, but it was like, if you don't like it, go and get a job. And and you sit there, you sit there, and I was like, yeah. And I never take anything personally. I always think about, because I know everybody around me does it for the good in me, and people know when they work, when I invest in them, I like a high level of challenge. If you don't challenge me, I won't work with you again. That's where I've been with some coaches. I've said, I've got to be honest, you're not challenging enough for me. I'm probably not going to continue. And I know that's, you've got to understand where you lot are with challenge, and we speak a lot around boundaries, but that was like the pure pain point for me. I'm a little bit more American in that I'm very visionary and drawn towards, I've got a goal, I'll go for it. And I know in my personality is, give me stuff to do and I'll just do it. But it was bloody tough then, and that hit me, and it was a bit of a, no, I've left that. I don't want to work in the corporate world anymore. Yeah. I've done that. I want to create my own thing. And actually now, even recently, it's really hit home that I don't want to ever work for someone again. And I didn't think I'd ever be like that. I would in it, but it has to be on so many specific boundaries around that. It would be really tough. So I think that high level of challenge, knowing there's a high level of support there, and that part of coming to sustainable business, you've got to ask yourself some tough questions sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is not for the faint-hearted.
No.
And I don't mean that in a disrespectful fashion. I've struggled with it. You are going to get more no's than yeses. That's it. That's the world that we live in.
I mean, basic on the fact we're talking about connection and collaboration today. We connected quite a few years ago now, probably a couple of years ago, to be fair, and through the coaching world. Yeah. And I think I was on your podcast first, and then you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I was on. Yeah. Maybe you were on mine, and then I know you did a confidence one last year with me, which was the confidence round each day. That I remember doing yours, and it was after we'd had a conversation, and we weren't working together, and you just knew there was something with me, and it was my time of leaving the corporate world, and it was tough. It was tough, like period of time for me. And I shared that with you, but you just instantly knew, because I was on a podcast, and I still showed up to do it, but you was like, that's not the Nat I know. Yeah. And then we started work. That's when it came through of, I think we'd be great doing something together. And I was like, and I hadn't really thought about it in a way. And then we started working together in March. So the connection part again was, you served. And so you didn't ever sell to me in that way. It was just a serve, and this is how we can. I don't want to get confused though in a sales. It is sales, but it's a way of serving sales.
Yes.
I don't want to trick people that we all go around saying I don't do sales, because I used to do that too. We have to be very clear on in that moment of I'm proposing. What does this look like, opposed to being pushy sales? Does that make sense? How would you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you are giving someone an experience in order for them to understand how you could potentially work together. And they when we've got to the proposal piece, then you're saying numbers out loud that say, in order for us to do some work together, in order for me to support you with that thing that you've said you want some support with, it's going to cost this much. But it's not your classic kind of walking up to someone and saying, oh, you could really do some coaching with that, and then giving them, I do these products, packages, and kind of getting them into that, oh, wow, I have to have this, otherwise I'm not going to succeed. Yeah. Like you say, I connected with you, Nat, at the time. I never, ever expected to do any work with you. I just held a space for you, asked you some questions, built a connection up, and it got to the point where you said to me, yeah, what would it look like to do some work together? I'd never mentioned working together. And that's the power in this, is coming from a place of service. But what it does mean is it does take an amount of time. If you just want quick, fast sales, this is not the methodology for you. So this is our way of doing things. If you love creating content, if you love being online all the time, hey, knock yourself out, go get it. But my view is you're scattergunning. You don't actually know who's going to find their way to you. I would much rather say, let's just pretend in 12 months' time, I pick the phone and say, nah, you know me, I've just finished with a couple of clients and I'd rather build my business through invite and referral. Who do you know who might value a conversation with me? Mm-hmm. And you'll go, leave it with me. We'll come back and say, I've had a think, and I know such a body's been working on this thing. I think you'd be ideal for them. Mm-hmm. And then I would do what this says. I'd create a conversation. We'd have that experience, and then something may or may not happen from there. Mm. Important thing about the experience, it's not a chat. And again, I think coaches can fall into the trap of, oh, I'm just going for a chat. No, it's not a chat. You are going to deliver your service. You are going to coach someone around something. That's why it's an experience. Because again, if it's people that you know and trust, sometimes they can turn up and find their way to just thinking they're coming for a bit of a chinwag. No, you need to set the boundaries. They're coming to you, have the usual, hi, how's the family, what you've been up to, blah, blah, and then, right, talk to me about, we're going to start the coaching session. Talk to me about what you want some support with. Yeah. And again, this is all just learning, because again, that doesn't necessarily explicitly say it in there. So I'm mindful of time, and I want to make sure I give the best value. So as an example, I can't see you guys at the moment, but I'm connecting with you all. Yeah. So this is a way of making connections. Some of you will connect with me today on LinkedIn. Some of you will go and look at me and try and find me. Okay. This is how this is a way of creating connections. Okay. Yeah. This is a way of doing it. Going on people's podcasts is a way of doing it. Yeah. Going and finding your local Federation of Small Businesses and doing a talk on whatever it is you're great at is a way of creating connections. When I first started, I spent way too much time in my local Costa Coffee drive-through doing coaching experiences. I was there every day and I was working full time. So I was working during the day and then doing this on the evenings and the weekends because I loved it. I love coaching. Yeah. So just be aware it's not a chat. Okay, so the other thing that explains in the book, collect as many no's as possible. So you don't have to wait to actually give people a proposal. What you could say at the end of the experience is, is something along the lines of, look, I'm really pleased. Thanks very much. You've taken the time to come and experience what it is I do. If you're considering working with me for 3 months, fortnightly sessions, it costs X. Yeah. Okay. Just as a way of starting to say your numbers and how you want to use that narrative and learn from. So you don't have to wait to give a proposal. you can just say it at the end of the session if it feels right. Okay, but you've got to start saying your numbers out loud.
This I found this hard, didn't I?
Yeah, you're really hard.
I was doing, I think a 3-month program for me when we started working together in March it was either 497 or 597. It was something like that. And now my fees, for a year, you're looking at 10k plus. And I just have I have no problem saying it now, because I know the value of the experience you will have when we work together. So I know the difference it can make.
Totally aside to this book, and I'm just going to pause on the book a minute. What do I see the biggest challenge in the coaching industry is coaches understanding the value that they bring to someone.
Yeah.
And what that really boils down to is their own belief in how good they are. I know I've served Nat powerfully, and the value that she's got from what she invested, tenfold, no problem at all. Happy to say that out loud. And bar a few clients, pretty much everyone, hand on heart, I'd be happy to say, go and have a conversation with Nat without me being there. Go and have a conversation with such a body without me being there. That has come through coaching and coaching and coaching and coaching and coaching and coaching. So if you're in that space of, I can't say that number out loud, it probably tells me that you don't believe in your coaching. You don't believe the difference you can make in someone's life. Are you going to get better at that? Coach more. Have bigger results. Be bolder. But it all comes, for me, so you can do all that fancy stuff online, but if you're not coaching people, if you're not building those hours up, you're going to be in that same place where you're doing sessions for £50 a piece. Like if you are significantly changing someone's life, if you are creating real value in their world, then you will know. And the value that you can charge for that is exponential, because it's not a one-time hit, right? And that's going to go away now. We're just coming towards the end of our time together. And I know she has got tools, techniques, mindset, a way that she can continue to deliver her business for as long as she wants. It's not just that period of time.
I remember that hitting home. That was my first coach years ago. I just qualified, and they said that you might, and this, some of this again, what I do well is, and this is something Adam and I spoke about, is I work with lots of people, but I will work out what does that mean to me, and I use that very well to support me. I make the decisions and I take responsibility for those consequences, and that's important. Whereas, because I can't blame anybody, and other people say, well, he told me to, that they said do it this way, it hasn't worked. It's like you have to take it and make things your own, because I'm not Adam isn't me. So we have to really take responsibility, and I've lost a bit of my train of thought there, but
that's right.
It's
take the principles is what you're saying. That take the principles and make them work for yourself.
The fact that she said that you might not get the result necessarily you want right now or in the next 3 months working together. It may come a year down the road, it may come 7 years down the road, and there's so much I still draw upon, and some stuff worked that coach and some stuff didn't, that I still draw upon and say that was because of that experience there, and then I learned that there, and that is what has grounded me now in this. So it isn't always, again, it's that we want it now, we want it tomorrow. It's you are transforming and changing someone like their life. That's where the value is. It's not just, and again, this is where this pain by the hour stuff doesn't work, because it's beyond that. It's going, you can tell me everything to do until I physically do it and say, yeah, great, the investment for a year to work with me is X. It means absolutely nothing. You've got to get out there and do it.
Yeah, exactly. Which collecting no's.
Yeah.
Okay, so this book, and I was like, collecting no's? I've got to go and collect no's? What does that mean? Means you've got to say your numbers and you've got to propose to people. So however you create whatever you're going to create for them, whether it's a one day in a hotel, which Nat's been doing recently. It's one of my favorite things to do, is take some of my clients away for a day and just say, let's be self-indulgent and let's just spend a day in a really nice venue and work on what you want to achieve, what you're looking at, what's getting in the way. But whatever that proposal looks like, you've got to collect no's. Because if you're not collecting no's, if you're not weekly saying, I've got 12 no's this week, or 4 no's this week, or 2 no's, you've not been taking any action. So it's not the coaching, it's not the coach. The fact you need to look yourself hard in the mirror and go, I've not said any numbers out loud this week, which brings me on to this book, the back of the book, really simple template. And Nat does this every single week and has done for the past year, she sends me a weekly report that says, how many people did I connect with this week? How many people did I invite to a coaching experience? How many people did I create a coaching experience for? How many people did I propose to this week? How many no's did I collect this week? Because if you're not filling those boxes in, it means you're not doing anything.
I know you have amazing clients, Adam, but I guarantee I'm one of the most consistent on that.
Yes.
Because I hold myself accountable. It's not you.
Yeah.
I let myself, like, I have to do it for me. You're there to support 100%. And sometimes you've nudged and said, everything all right now, it's a bit late. And I'm like, it's coming, it's 10 at night, it's coming. But like, you have to be consistent in this and committed to it.
So why do people not do it? I'll tell you now, it's because they're scared. And that's okay. I was scared. Nat's scared. Yeah. It's okay to have fear. It's okay to feel uncomfortable. It's okay to fumble your words. It's okay to make a car crash of it, because all you're doing is getting better at it. So if you were to work without a coach and take that book by itself and do what it asks you, I would near guarantee you'll be improving your coaching business and creating clients in a different way that you've never done it before. Would it happen immediately? Not necessarily. Would it happen over time? Absolutely. There is no way on this earth that if you followed that process week in, week out, month after month after month, I went through it. So I'm just like Nat. I went and sought out a coach, which I'll come to in a tick. And like Nat, 6 months solid, every single week. How many people did I connect, invite, create, propose? And then there's some other questions around what you've learned, what give you energy, how much money you've put in the bank, how much did you make in proposals? So you can start to see, this is the business part now. What does it look like to create a sustainable coaching business week after week after week after week after week? What effort is required to do this? This is when Nat said, like, Adam shattered, like, I'm tired. This is hard. I'm like, yeah, it is. And however, just like everything else, once you've got it nailed and you've got that narrative and you're really comfortable with how you approach people and how you create experiences and what experiences you create, because you don't have to do a 2-hour one. It could be, once you get into it a bit more, it could be a, 90-minute one. It could be an hour one, whatever. But that in itself, if you're not reporting weekly to yourself and looking yourself in the mirror saying, what action have I taken this week to develop and grow my coaching business? And that's not Facebook friends, connections on LinkedIn, blah, 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 blah. It is genuine conversations. It's having a conversation with another human being. And as Nat said earlier, the co-author of this book, Steve Chandler, and I love it, there's no coaching agreement contract that's ever been signed outside of a coaching conversation. So that for me is fundamental. I'm mindful of time. So what else? What else is really important? Or gets in the way? I just made a couple of notes earlier. So confidence in your coaching. Like Nat said, you can do all that social media stuff, but if someone sat in front of you then and expecting you to deliver and you don't believe in yourself and what you can deliver, pointless. You've just wasted all that time and energy getting someone sat in front of you, and then you're not actually able to deliver on what you've been promoting that you can do. Yeah, do it the other way around. Get the results first and then promote the results that you've delivered for people. What else did I put? And being accountable. So there's no way beating around the bush. If you want somebody to spend thousands of pounds working with you, you need to know what that feels like. So Nat knows I've spent thousands on coaching, personal development. I've been to Tony Robbins. I've been to Joe Dispenza. I went on Rich Litvin's masterclass. I know Nat's a huge investor in herself. You need to know what it feels like to give somebody else an amount of your money to develop yourself. It's no good saying, oh, I believe in this coaching thing and blah, blah, blah. If you've never had a coach, come on now. You've got to be in that space where you're going, this is going to make me feel a little bit nauseous. I didn't have to. I went to Haley at the time and said, look, I'm going to spend what was our annual holiday for the family to get my coach.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, right, here we go. This is, I need to sink into this and I need to do everything I possibly can to make that. And as you can probably tell, because I'm stood here, it worked wonders, and I continue to do that. And so you've really got to be in that space to understand it. You need to feel it. It's no good intellectually knowing it. You have to feel what that's like to go, yeah, I'm ready to invest in myself. What else gets in the way? Just your bullshit narrative. Oh, Adam, but I don't know that many people. You're saying go and connect with people. I don't know that many people. I'm going to call you out, right? We all know people. We all go to the gym. We all go to the school playground. We all go to, wherever it is, there are ways to make connections. There are ways to open up a dialogue. And that in itself, I think, is calling yourself out to go, I'm probably just scared. I'm probably just really nervous about what somebody might say, about, is my coaching actually delivering anything? And again, that's absolutely okay. Been there, got the DVD box set, special edition, all that good stuff, but just stick with it. As I say, I've got 5 minutes left. I'm a huge advocate for this approach. If you're somebody that doesn't really want to spend lots of time out there on social media, and you're willing to do this for the long game, this isn't just I'm going to be a coach now. This is something that you genuinely want to do for a sustainable period of time, then I would say that this, for me, has been the book, the methodology, and investing in a coach is what just catapulted me to now be stood where I am. With multiple different clients from all over the world, and I love every minute of it. So yeah, Nat, I'm going to pause there because I've got 4 minutes left. Is there anything?
Hang on time. There are some bits. Look, you're joining us back at 2 though, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna come back on 2.
If you've got more questions, pop them in and we'll answer them. We'll discuss them and we can build on our shares to bring it to life as well.
Yeah,
that's really important. I think just what I want to share there is, I was in a place where I was like, financially there's different things, and I was very conscious of what I saw in the coaching world looked lovely, and all these men were making it, and you see all of the social side and think, well, why can't I have that, and etc. But I was absolutely petrified, and we had a long conversation of that. My biggest fear, I have some fears of success, but I definitely had fears at the time of stability financially, because it was, and it's not now, and I'm going to be transparent now, I now live with somebody the last month or so, but I was very scared at the time of going from a corporate job where money just came in and went out. That was, say it how it is, that's the reality of where I was, and I didn't really think about paying my bills and everything. And then suddenly it was like, well, what happens if no money comes in and I've got X to go out? Like, who pays that? So I was very aware that it looked like people were doing, the similar situation, but behind the scenes, someone else would take away that stability. And that stressed me. There's good stress and there's bad stress. And that was a stressful zone of, I don't know how I will operate. And that's again, the point. I'll never put someone into a position of, they've got to make this formed decisions about what they want and when the time's right. But you can't put that on top of people. You've got to ask these tough questions of yourself. And be honest about those. And sometimes time isn't the right time, etc. But don't put things off and procrastinate versus, I want that. What does that look like to get there, and how do I make that happen?
Yeah, I think just to close now, one of the things that I have witnessed is people being far too interested in what other people are doing instead of just focusing on their own business. Oh, such a body's got this program, such a body's, and then, like you say, you have no idea what level of support they've got in their background. You don't know whether they've been left a big chunk of money from, a will, or you don't know whether what their partner does. And it looks from the outside, if you're following some of these people, what's actually going on. Do your due diligence.
Yeah,
I'm huge on this. If you're even remotely considering working with someone, do your due diligence. Have a conversation. If they're pushing you, if there's a time-bound period to it, just slow that right down. There's nothing wrong with saying, would it be all right to have another conversation with you about this? And of course, you can't, I wouldn't say to someone, 3 or 4 conversations. I'd be like, look, we probably need to kind of wrap this up. We're either thinking about doing some work or we're not.
Yeah.
But please do not get caught up in lots of other people's narratives, because this industry is full of people promising the earth and delivering jack. And that for me is really important. Be someone of of good standing, be someone that's built a reputation, and that you can point people to. I know, I said, you want to talk to Nat about me, you crack on, because I know she will sing my praises. And as with other clients that I've got, that will go, yeah, he delivered for me. There's no doubt about that. So just be that person. Instead of quick fix, take your time, use this because it's mega. Absolutely. If you've not got it, go and buy it today and get it delivered and start chewing through it and digesting it.
Amazing. Thank
you. Look at that. 10:59. I'm going.
Hang on. See you soon.
See you later. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you felt inspired, please make sure you share this with a friend and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. I really love hearing feedback from you. So if you have a question, topic, or want to hear from someone you love on this show, then head to my website, Natalie Potts Coaching, and let me know. Until next time, have an amazing week and know that you have value to offer this world.